What's up guys? So today, pretty quick video, we're checking out this new MixChecker Pro from Audified. What it essentially is like you've seen me use the MixChecker, the AB from Sample Magic, where I use different tracks to reference what I'm doing. Similar thing, but you get to check references of like a physical environment or different speakers and things like that, or a blend of the two. So if you want to test your mix and you know most people are going to listen to it on earbuds and you test it on your own earbuds, but you want to cross-check it with other types of headphones, you can just set up these 12 different items and you can just switch it so it changes the profile of your track to work with those different bits of audio. You can then put it on different types of monitors or coming out of TVs and things like that. It's pretty cool, pretty useful. Definitely going to help you out in like checking the clarity of your mix. Like for me, main thing, I'm going to use it to check that I can hear the vocals in every single aspect. No matter what I do to that track, put it in mono, put background noise in, play it through a TV, I want the vocals to always be present because they're the key thing that people are going to be focused on and listening to. So let's have a little look at it. We'll just jump into Logic and check it out. Okay guys, so we are here in Logic, and just for context, what I've got loaded up is a track that's been frankly a nightmare to mix. I've been working on it for ages. I've had multiple vocalists in and all sorts of other things. Yeah, like it's insane how many variations of this track there are. Like if I hit H, there's a whole bunch of like scrapped vocals and other bits in it. So I thought this would be a good track to test out the MixChecker on, just to get some perception of how it's going. Essentially what this tool does is it allows you to check your mix on different references, different systems, and there's a whole bunch built in. Let's just go over it. Features left to right. Now, one of my favorites, always a zoom feature, so I can 200% it, and boom, it's nice and big for us, so we'll leave that like that. The next thing, we've got the tool section, so you can set this up and calibrate it however you want it to be set up. So for example, we've got this -9 dBFS, which is decibels full scale adjustment, which is going to be our own personal calibration. We're just going to leave that as default for now. It does mean when I engage it, it's going to knock everything back about 9 dB. But it works well because of some of the things it's adjusting when you're playing it out of like the laptop versions, for example. They become really harsh. It's nice to just dial it back. I assume that's the reason they've automatically set that as the default. Now we've then got a set of presets. I don't have them installed, so they're not in there, but it's easy enough to make up your own. So if you use the edit button here, just next to the little arrow and down thing where I haven't got anything installed, we can edit our own parameters for what we want for each thing. So if I was to select this first one with the image of the TV, by default that's usually set to none, but I've put the TV in here, and as you can see, we've got these 12 different options. However, in here there's a whole bunch. Like we've got different studio monitors with different inch drivers, different live sound PAs, different computer audio coming from an LCD screen, for example. There's TV types, laptop types, tablet types. A phone's probably a pretty good one to test. Definitely how a lot of people listen to things now. So if we do 5-inch grey, I think when it's doing this like grey, black and things, I think it's referring to models of phone. It's not allowed to. So I'm guessing like 5-inch display would have been something like an iPhone 5 probably. Yeah, the image kind of suggests that as well, right? And for the second one, let's get the TV in there because it's a good reference to have. Do a nice 32-inch TV. And we can set those up to things we want to test it on. We've got a volume adjustment here, whether it's going to go up or down in decibel per each one. You could go and set it up so these always have a clean level adjustment. However, like testing and playing around, I found it kind of useful to take the adjustment of that device because it does really give a better perception of how you'd be listening to it coming out of that. For example, you're never going to get full scale out of a phone, so it's kind of good to have it just work as it should there. Got the stereo bass, so whether or not it plays in stereo or mono, but on the main interface there's a mono switch to test that. And then distortion, basically how much it's going to distort when we switch into that particular version. But again, on the main panel, we can introduce distortion, and it doesn't increase the level or crank it into distortion. It allows you to hear how it would sound from that particular device if it were being played at max level and distorting, but you can still control the level in your ears rather than having some horrendous sounds go on. So you can set it up as you like, whatever preferences work good for you, which definitely a nice thing here. Now, coming to the bottom of the interface, we've got noise. Now, you probably think, oh, we switch noise on and we're going to hear some white noise or pink noise. No, it's actually ambient noise. So, for example, we can see here we've got Street 1. So you can get an idea of listening to it in that sort of environment, you know, real general background noise, which is quite good when we mimic it with the headphones as well, because we've got like the earbuds here, and we can have some background noise and we can hear how it's going to sound. If you're not really understanding the use of that, if we can put it onto earbuds and put background noise in and we can still hear the main elements of the track, we're doing well. Simple as that, really. The mono mode, different types of mode, really simple, right? We can do mono from left, mono from right, or we can swap them depending on what we go onto, or just standard mono, which will be a sum to mono, and that's when we engage this. And then I mentioned the distortion before. We can introduce that. It will show us the distortion occurring, it will show us the clipping occurring. So let's just go through them. I'm going to play a big chunk of this mix. Don't judge me on it, it's still a work in progress, and it's been a nightmare having multiple vocalists and things on it. So I'll play the first like little chunk of that, and then we'll switch through some of these. In fact, we'll put the auto feature on and just let it go through them.
Better watch out. I'm saying better watch out. There's trouble in my hood. There's trouble in my hood. Okay, I say better watch out. I'm saying better watch out. There's trouble in my hood. There's trouble in my hood. Warning, warning. People is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat. I'm running, they're running. I'm taking a trip down the dirty south side. I'm from the north side. You know how we ride. Traveling paradise, always traveling my place. I'm traveling around the world, I'm just traveling in your face. Click on your social media, yeah, I'm there. I'm about my money, baby, your circle, I'm square. Listen, I ain't talking grudge events like you walked in mud and you couldn't on trust me, you ain't just you this even.
Cool, so it's good to note that in every version, I can still hear the vocal, the main element still coming through. We take just this little verse section here. When we go to the phone, it's obviously super tinny, we lose most of the low end.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running.
But the main focuses of the track are still there. Now let's assume that it is an iPhone and that's actually a mono speaker, so we can do the phone emulation, if you will, and stick it into mono.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running. Taking a trip down the dirty south side. I'm from the north side, you know how we ride.
Now, unfortunately, some people listen to music that way. It's good to know that my mix is still getting the vocal through, and we disable those, we got the whole mix back.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running. Taking
Now, another good one was testing it on some of the monitors, to which it was sounding good. Now, I'm in a set of headphones. I'm in a similar set of headphones to the ones I've got here. I don't know how it's going to sound for you guys. For me, it's adding loads of top end, like it's really high. But that could be because I'm listening on something very similar to these, and it's just doubling up.
warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better
Yeah, it's adding loads of like high, whistly top end volume. And like if you're listening on a set of monitors like these, you're probably not going to want to test on them. But it was good to hear that it still sounds good testing it on monitors, right?
warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running. Taking a trip down the dirty south side. I'm from the north side, you know how we ride. Traveling paradise, always traveling my place. I'm traveling around the world, I'm just traveling in your face. So click on your social media, yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, so you know, if I was summing it to mono and then putting it onto say the TV, which you know TVs can still be in mono today, even like the flat screens, and we lost all the vocal, there's a problem with the mix.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running their
It's boxy, it doesn't sound amazing, but a TV running in mono with like a single speaker, especially on like an LCD where they tend to not have great speakers, you put a soundbar on, it's okay, we can still hear everything that we need to, so we know that's going to work. That's essentially what MixChecker is allowing us to do. Now, the added distortion feature really shows us what it's like if we were to be driving those devices.
warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running. Taking a trip down the dirty south side. I'm from the north side, you know how we traveling paradise, always traveling my place. I'm traveling around the world, I'm just traveling in your face.
That's about right. And again, we're just testing to make sure the mix doesn't fall apart. And we can test it in different environments. And obviously you can build it up to whatever you want to test it on, which is a nice little feature. It's a useful thing to have. And I can see myself making some good use of it. So that's a really brief introduction to MixChecker. Hopefully it's going to help me finally get around to fixing this mix and getting it where I'm happy with it. But at the minute, I just can't fully figure out what's going wrong.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running.